lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome, everybody, into the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Tonight, they throw it back to old Atlanta. No more of this super speedway, new Atlanta style. They're back at that quad oval that we all love so much. It is a driver's racetrack. Last week, though, we were at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We saw Kinsley Smith dominate the race, leading 92 laps of the 105. Alex Teft second. Dennis Kane finished third. Andrew Teft fourth. And then if we look at the championship standings, Andrew Teft is up on top. Brandon Honeycutt in second. Ira Kohaas third. Alex Teft fourth. Kinsley Smith up to fifth, up 7 spots after last week's win. But that's enough about the past. Let's jump into the present here as we have drivers out on track. Dennis Kane in the number 4 Ford rolling through here. Coming to the start-finish line, going to finish his first hot lap here. 31.73. Like Sean Dunaway is going to be the second driver through here. He comes through with a 31.64. Ruth Hoke finished his first lap with a 31.85. Kirby Wainscott, rough go for the first time, a 32.72. See if he can get any more speed as he's into the wall coming out of turn number 2. Going to see that quite a bit tonight. I have a feeling these cars are going to wind up being a handful when we get going here. At least for, a few laps, and then they'll kind of settle down as they roll on through. Sean Dunaway finished his second lap with a 31.49. Kinsley Smith out on track. First lap, 31.60. We'll see if he can go any faster the second time through. Coming to the quad oval here. He goes a little bit slower, 31.74, so definitely seems like the first lap is faster than the second as they roll around here. A little bit about Atlanta. So this is the quad oval from 2008. It's a 1.5-mile track. They just basically changed the bankings a little bit. The banking's down to 24 degrees. So it'll get a little slick especially when it's hot. So we can take a look here at the weather as we're watching Ira Kohaus finish his first lap, a 32.16. Jump on back to Brandon Honeycutt. Track temperature is a blistering 115 degrees tonight as they are trying to qualify here. Aaron Marquise up there with a 31.84, which is probably why you're going to see these guys get a little loose coming out of turn number 2 and heading down the backstretch. That is going to be one of the trouble spots. Also, turn number 4, as you start to make your way towards that quad oval, you're going to try and get out to the wall and basically make that front straightaway as straight as possible. Brandon Honeycutt of 31.83. Matt Metler in that 16 Ford with a 32.16. Chris Blasi with the number 11 Chevy, a 31.68. We have Edward Sexton, Todd Slauson just getting out on track. Looks like Todd Slauson's coming down the backstretch now. See what he can do with this double deuce Chevy here. Coming through the quad oval, 183 miles an hour. 32.20 there for Slauson. Looks like Alex Teft is not here tonight. Like somebody's going to jump up the standings just a little bit here. Slauson coming to the start-finish line for his second lap. He went way quicker. 31.63, good enough for third place right now. Edward Sexton in the 81 Chevy. First time by a 32.40. Second time by 31.90. Like Lee Campbell's getting ready to start his hot lap here. Halfway down the backstretch, Lee Campbell trying to get that car up towards the front. Seems to be mired back in the back the last couple races, so we'll see if he can get around some drivers here. Up to P8 on his first time by, 31.80. Andrew Teft in that 98 Ford coming through the backstretch, headed through 3 and 4. See what he can do with that Racers Elite number 98. 32.09 first time by. Jump back to Lee Campbell as he's crossing the finish line for his second lap. 32.56, so definitely not what he wanted out of that second lap. Right now still sitting P8 though. Like he might have got just a hair loose there coming out of 4. He goes P7, 31.74. Looks like that's going to be about it for the drivers that have showed up so far. Like I said, this is round number 5 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. You guys are getting set to battle here. We got Mid-Ohio next week, and then Talladega, Pocono, Dover, and Homestead. So basically 6 more races counting tonight until the chase will start. So these guys trying to move into the top 10 as best they can. Getting ready to wrap up qualifying. We got about a minute left here. So in this configuration, the fastest lap was run by Martin Truex Jr. back in 2021, right before they reconfigured the track with a 30.85. So guys are a little bit off the pace there, but we'll see what they can do once we get that green flag in the air. So I imagine we're going to see lots of drivers trying to take it cautious until those tires get heated up just a little bit. And then we'll also see, as the race goes on, drivers trying to decide when to take that pit stop. I imagine we're going to see two stops. So split the race into thirds. So they're going to want to get somewhere around lap 35, if my math is mathing here, for this 105-lap race. With that being said, it looks like they are getting in their cars to get this race underway here. Let's go on down to the track, and we can get this started here. So on the pole position, Sean Dunaway, Kinsley Smith in that Napa number 15 machine. Todd Slauson back there in third, as he's still getting in his ride. Dennis Kane outside row 2. Row 3 is Chris Blasi and Ira Kohath. Andrew Teft and Aaron Marquise make up row 4. Row 5, Lee Campbell and Brandon Honeycutt. We got Truth Hoke after his pretty good race last night. And see what he can do tonight in that 59 Chevy. Edward Sexton running P12. Matt Metler and Kirby Wayne Scott are going to round out the field here as we get set to go. We can bring up the track temp again. Now it is 122 degrees. Whoa. Old Atlanta's dicey anyway. When you add the heat like that, it is going to be a handful early. But we'll see what these guys can do once they get rolling here. And Sean Dunaway is going to lead them down to the green flag. Like we're just waiting for the go-ahead to get rolling here. They are starting their one and only pace lap here at Atlanta. Dunaway on the insides. Kinsley Smith on the outside. Alex, man, where are you? I see you in the chat now, but where are you at tonight? Chicken Coop Racing is the team that Alex and Andrew, Dennis Kane are all on, so looking to try and get this team championship rolling here. I would imagine as these guys start to get ready to roll here, we're going to see some drivers almost kind of back off. It's not the super speedway-ish configuration, so it's not going to be, if you lose the draft, you're going to lose a ton of positions, but you're probably going to want to try and save your tires and definitely let the track kind of come to you as the race goes on here. But we are getting set to turn these drivers free here. 60 miles an hour. Pace car is in. Dunaway with the button as he rolls through the Geico restart zone. We are down and away in green at Atlanta. Kinsley Smith trying to stay on that high line. Tide Slauson trying to stay down on the low line and get to the inside of Kinsley Smith as they are almost fanning out three different lanes there. Chris Blasi, Ira Kohlhaas, and Dennis Kane. Dennis Kane trying to go down to the inside of Kohlhaas there. Like he's just trying to find his preferred line. But you'll see drivers kind of move around, try and find that spot that is going to make them comfortable here. Not that there's going to be a lot you can do, especially when you're talking 120-degree track temperature. Definitely hear that. Alex trying to get his truck running there. Got Marquise and Honeycutt side by side. Marquise staying up clear almost to that outside wall. Kirby Wainscott trying to make the pass on Edward Sexton. Matt Metler about 2 seconds back of this battle here. Like Ira Kohlhaas and Lee Campbell are doing a little battling as we are 3 laps in. Kohlhaas, Campbell side by side. Fastest man on the track right now is Chris Blasi up here with the 31.61 as Kinsley Smith slides down inside of Sean Dunaway and is going to take the lead, and he is going to start to drive away. He's got a quarter-second lead already. Dunaway and Blasi are going to start battling here for second as Blasi is closing in almost 0.3 of a second that time by as he pulls down to the inside, tries to get a run on Dunaway there. Everybody's kind of sorted it out. Looks like Ira Kohlhaas lost a lot of ground there. They made a little mistake trying to push the issue to get by Lee Campbell there, but they are all back single file line here. Marquise, Honeycutt, Wayne Scott. Just as I say that, looks like Honeycutt's going to try and go to the inside of Marquise. Blasey got by Dunaway. Come down the backstretch. Everybody kind of single filed out here. This battle on the track, I believe, is right here. You got Andrew Teff, Lee Campbell, Truth Hope, all within about a half second of each other. Lee Campbell gets another run, tries to push it just a little bit to stay in front of Andrew Teff. Andrew Teff not letting him go anywhere as he is trying to close that gap once again. Truth Hope goes up high. You're going to probably see that high line start to come in play here as he gets loose coming off of 4, but is able to keep it pointed in the right direction here. Lee Campbell still under pressure from Andrew Teff. Like Ira Kohas is starting to get by Truth Hope as Truth goes into that outside wall. Truth has got to be almost on cloud 9 as he wound up finishing P2 last night in the Truck Series race. Battle of Kinsley Smith all night as well. Kinsley just was able to pull away at the end, but as the laps wore on, Truth was closing in a hurry as it looked like Kinsley might have used up his stuff a little bit too much there. Back through the field, we got Todd Slauson, Dennis Kane. Nobody really pushing each other too much here. Slauson slowly starting to reel in that number 4 of Dennis Kane there. But you got to take a look here. Let's jump on Dennis Kane's. Chicken Coop Racing has our logo plastered on the hood of that number 4 Ford. And let off the throttle as he comes through the corner. Slides up the track trying to get it back under control so he doesn't hit that outside wall. Gets back on the straightaway and is back into the throttle. Dunaway starting to close in on Blasey, but Kinsley Smith is still pulling away. He's out to over a half-second lead right now over second place. Sean Dunaway is able to close in. And as we were watching that, Dennis Kane and Todd Slauson are battling back and forth side by side. Dunaway pulls down to the inside, and he's going to try and take advantage here and force Blasey up the track. Can't quite do it as he falls in line back behind Blasey. Dunaway has that 01 machine looking pretty good right now. Truth Hope into the pits as he has kissed the wall numerous times. Andrew Teff now back to 8th. Brandon Honeycutt up 1 spot. Running P9, Aaron Marquise inside the top 10. Edward Sexton, Kirby Wayne Scott, and Matt Metler. Truth Hope on pit lane. Kinsley Smith out for a Sunday drive here. just see him rolling through the start-finish line. Let's see if we can jump on board, go see what he's doing inside that cockpit here. It's about 8,500, backs it back down to just a little under 7,000 RPMs as he rolls through turn number 4 here. Like Blasi might have had an issue there. It looks like Ira Kohlhaas did. Let's see if we can see what happened to Ira. Than what we were seeing in the grass there. That gets a little loose. Yep. Those were the tracks we saw on the infield there. Keeps it pointed in the right direction. We stay green, but he lost a lot of time as he is running P10 now. Todd Slauson was able to get by Chris Blasi. Ruth Hoke back out on track after pitting there on lap 13. Just go through the motions here as he is out to over a second lead as Kinsley Smith shot on the way. Todd Slauson, Chris Blasi, Dennis Kane. Like Andrew Teft has found the control of, oh, he's into the outside wall. Like Andrew Teft was trying to make a pass there on Lee Campbell, went to go to the high side and just pancake that car right into the wall. You can see drivers getting on that grass as they try and cut that quad oval there. Andrew Teft still trying to make it work here. One of the best drivers here at Atlanta was none other than Dale Earnhardt. He had 9 victories here at Atlanta and 26 top 5 finishes. His average finish was 9.54. So definitely a track that the Intimidator liked. Guys are getting ready to try and decide what they're going to do as far as their tire wear and pit strategies go. I think it's going to go green and they're going to have enough if they think it's going to go green and they want to just get enough fuel to make it to the end, 35 is where they're gonna be. But I'm gonna assume somebody's gonna try and push it just a little bit because you never know what's gonna happen in those closing laps here, especially at Atlanta. But these guys are starting to get spread out just a little bit. I imagine after pit stops, we're probably gonna see somebody probably get on the throttle a little too hard with those 4 fresh tires, wind up spinning. But I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong. But if it happens, just don't blame me. Lee Campbell. Like Andrew Teff's fading back just a little bit. Brandon Honeycutt starting to cut into that gap as Andrew Teff is only a couple tenths in front at the moment. Ira Kohlhaas, all sorts of loose as he was coming out of turn number 2 there. Ride on board here with Kohlhaas. Comes through the start-finish line. You can almost hear it sound like it's starting to get a little loose there. It's definitely something you want to watch out for as like Sexton, Wayne Scott, Aaron Marquise looks like he got into the wall there as Matt Mettler was able to go by. Into the outside wall once again. See if we can see how what happened to. Oh, yep, into that outside wall. Gets it back under control just a little bit there, and slides back up towards that outside wall. Looks to take his foot off the throttle, reel it back in. Lose a few positions, but keep that car in relatively one piece. These guys are starting to slide all over the place with the wear on these tires as he is into the outside wall one more time. Like he might be pulling it down coming to pit lane this time. That's exactly what he does. Almost a 2-second lead now for Kinsley Smith as he is just rolling here in the Racers Elite Series. So we'll see how many more laps he can go. I'm going to assume he's going to try and get to that 35. Looks like Todd Slauson went into that outside wall too, just bounced around just a little bit. Mark Marquise is out of pit lane now, back out on track. Ruth Hoke also out on track. Leaves Matt Mettler as the last car on the lead lap. And it looks like Todd Slauson is involved in a crash, but oh, yes, he was. We'll take a look at that here real quick as everybody is still rolling on by. Well, didn't count it when he was there, but find it anyway. It's a pretty big run, goes into that outside wall, loses it, stays off of the racing surface. So we stay green. So Slauson's getting towed to the pits. Kinsley Smith is out on a Wednesday night stroll here. Dunaway second, Blasi third. Blasi's going to start to feel some pressure here from Lee Campbell, as it looks like Lee might have been kind of playing a little possum, maybe saving some tires for the end of this run. He seems to be the quickest one out on track by almost a couple tenths over a lot of the drivers around him. We got Ira Kohlhaas trying to make a pass here on Dennis Kane for 5th place. Dennis Kane up on the high line. Looks like Brandon Honeycutt's going to try and drive it in deep and see if he can get it to stick and make the pass here on Kane, as Kane gets a little loose coming off of turn number 2, headed down that backstretch. But Kinsley Smith is still driving away from this field. Andrew Teft back in 8th, about 2 seconds in front, and about 3 out the back for anybody around Andrew Teft at the moment. Looks like Todd Slauson is back out on the track after he probably took his fast repair there. He's getting ready to go. See who's going to be the driver that blinks first, that actually has to come down pit lane. And it looks like Dennis Kane is said driver as he comes down. Edward Sexton in as well. Everybody's starting their pit calls here. Looks like the 01 might be coming in this time. We'll see if Kinsley Smith's going to come in or if he's going to stay out one more lap. And he is staying out one more lap. Sean Dunaway in. Is Blasey going to stay out or come in? He's too high up on the track. He's staying out. Lee Campbell, Ira Kohlhaas, and Brandon Honeycutt in. Andrew Teft in. Kirby Wainscott coming in. Matt Metler staying out. So 2 drivers, 3 drivers stayed out and are going to stay on the racing surface here as Kinsley Smith now comes in. I'm going to assume Blasey's going to follow him. We'll see what Metler elects to do here. Probably about to the end of the fuel run, I would say. He's going to stay out one more lap. So Metler just took over the lead there. Let's see if he's going to be able to lead a lap here. He's got Andrew Teft down to his inside. Todd Slauson. Metler coming down pit lane. Kinsley Smith still on the lead lap as he was able to make his pit stop and get back out on track as he's coming to pit exit. And here comes Sean Dunaway. See what's going to happen if Dunaway's going to be able to close that gap on Kinsley Smith. And it looks like he is, as that gap is now about a half a second. Kinsley needs to get those tires warmed up just a little bit so we can get more speed in that 15 ride, as we're almost 40 laps into 105 here from Old Atlanta. Let everybody finish making their pit stops, and we will step aside momentarily. This is the Racers Elite Xfinity Series on Sim Racing Media. Welcome back, everybody. You didn't miss anything as we were side by side there. Go ahead and let's do a quick little rundown here of the race thus far. Kinsley Smith has been leading almost every lap except for when he made his pit stop. Sean Dunaway back in second. Brandon Honeycutt up to third, up 7 spots for that 13 Chevy. Dennis Kane running where he was as he's got teammate right behind him, Andrew Teft, running P5. Ira Kojas in P6. Chris Blasi looks like he didn't have quite the luck he wanted as he comes out P7 after pit stops. Aaron Marquise up to P8. Edward Sexton and Kirby Wainscott 9th and 10th. Matt Mentler is 11th, battling right now with Truth Hoke, who's down a couple laps. Todd Slauson is also there. And Lee Campbell. Yeah, Truth Hoke and Lee Campbell. Lee Campbell's back out on track. Not exactly sure what happened to Lee. Looks like he might have had a speeding penalty there, so down his pit stop, so he's down a lap as well. As Kinsley Smith is starting to close in on the back of the field here. On board that Napa machine. You see Matt Mentler just up in front of him as we are working our way towards the halfway mark here. We can take a look at the dashboard, see where he's running. It looks like Kinsley Smith is not shifting that number 15 as he is riding around in 4th gear here. Go back and take a look. See if we have a little different strategy here from the 98 Ford as he is working his way through turn number 4, headed to the front stretch here. Like he's running about the same as far as that goes. Just interesting to see how these guys are running as we have Ira Kojas and Dennis Kane. Everybody's running basically fourth gear, trying to minimize the shifts or eliminate them altogether. You can hear him get right almost to that rev limiter. They're still battling Kane and Kohlhaas. Kohlhaas gets a little bit better run down on that bottom side. Gonna slide up in front of Dennis Kane. Looking back at Dennis Kane. See how close these drivers are getting to each other. Not what you'd see at the new Atlanta, but they still get pretty close to each other as they're battling for position. All three of these drivers are the closest drivers on track. Looks like Kirby Wainscott might be getting ready to battle with Edward Sexton to get inside the top 8, but Kirby, like he's carrying a little bit too much speed into the corner as he is losing a little bit of ground there to Sexton. Ira Kohlhaas down to the inside, going to try and pass Andrew Teft here. One of the most memorable, I'll say, races here was just after the passing of Dale Earnhardt when Kevin Harvick, rookie Kevin Harvick, beat Jeff Gordon by 0.006 seconds to win here at Atlanta. Definitely a ton of history, ton of NASCAR history here at Atlanta as well. Ira Kohlhaas up to 4th. About 2.5 seconds back from Brandon Honeycutt, but the top two have pretty much driven away from the field. Kinsley Smith is out to almost a 2-second lead over Sean Dunaway. Dunaway has an 8-second lead over Brandon Honeycutt. And then Honeycutt has a 2.5-second lead basically over Ira Kohlhaas. Andrew Teft, Dennis Kane all battling back here as well. Chris Blasi a couple seconds back as these guys are going to try and make it, I'm going to say, to lap 71, 72 and make that pit stop so they can make it to the end of the race as they are getting spread out here at Atlanta. Got Matt Mettler down a lap. He is the first car a lap down, at least for the moment. Kinsley Smith has Lee Campbell in front of him, but Lee's down multiple laps, so that'll still leave Mettler with the lucky dog position. Marquise is as loose can be, as he is fighting that car every which direction. He is battling Matt Mettler for position, but he's gonna lose quite a bit of time here. Like Mettler might be gaining a little bit momentum here on Kinsley Smith as this starts to wear on. Kinsley might be backing it down just a little bit, trying to extend those tires a little bit more. Kingsley Smith has just been driving lights out lately. Sean Dunaway is almost 3 seconds back now. Brandon Honeycutt 7.5 or so back. Like Ira Kohaus is starting to close in, so it's definitely going to come down to a pit call or whoever is going to wind up trying to make some ground on Kingsley Smith. Kingsley stayed out a lap longer than almost everybody else. I imagine he's going to probably do basically the same thing. Doesn't seem to have anybody pushing him at the moment. So it's all up to Kingsley when he decides he wants to come down. He still is pulling away from second place. Right now, Kingsley Smith, Brandon Honeycutt, and Ira Kohaus, 3 drivers for Driving Extreme Incorporated, are first, third, and fourth. Metler's up towards the wall. Aaron Marquise is falling back. He's 7.5 seconds back from Matt Metler. So Metler's comfortably in the lucky dog position for the moment here, as Sexton is 27 seconds behind Kingsley Smith right now. So we got a little ways to go. Looks like Kingsley just kind of staying right between Metler and Lee Campbell. Dunaway's losing time as he is now 3.5 back. I think that's still 8.5 back from Dunaway there, but Ira Kohaus starting to close in. That gap is now down inside 1.5 seconds. Andrew Teft about 2 seconds back from Kohaus. Dennis Kane, probably the closest. This is probably the closest battle on track between these two teammates. Andrew Teft has about 1/4 second lead over Dennis Kane. Aaron Marquise coming in. Nothing really going on here as Kingsley Smith slides back up in front of Metler. Metler is all over the back bumper there of that 15 machine. Kinsley Smith still rolling through. Ooh, Mettler hard into the wall. Stays on track, keeps it going in the right direction. And now Kinsley has a little bit of a cushion back there. Edward Sexton coming down pit lane. Todd Slauson also down. That's going to leave us right now with 8 cars on the lead lap. We got about 5 seconds or so until Kinsley, no, not now. Kinsley Smith pulls off on exactly lap 70. So Dunaway's going to stay out. He'll inherit the lead here. Let's see where Kinsley comes out. Like I said, it's definitely going to be a pit strategy race to see if this is going to be the right call. See everybody else come down probably within the next couple laps here. I mean, Dunaway saw what Kinsley Smith was able to do when he stayed out on track, as you see him go by Kinsley Smith and put him a lap down. So we'll see if he's going to be able to do what Smith did when he made his pit stop earlier in the race. Aaron Marquis 3 laps down. Lee Campbell 2, Lawson 2, Sexton 2, and Truth Hoke is 2 as well for the moment. Might be 3 by the time he gets back out of pit lane. Andrew Teft coming in. Ira Kohlhaas also in. Kirby Wainscott in. Dunaway should be coming in this time by. Sexton is still out on track. He came down on lap 67, so we'll see if he's going to be able to have enough to make it to the end of the race. As Kinsley Smith takes his lap back. We'll see what's going to happen here as they are going to race to see if Dunaway can get off of pit lane before Kinsley Smith can get back to pit exit here. Dunaway just now into his pit box. Going to take 4 tires and fuel. Should be about 15.5 seconds stop here. Dennis Kane in. Matt Mettler stayed out. Kinsley Smith is still rolling here, so he took back first place and he improved his lead over second. His lead over second is now going to be 9.5 seconds. As Kinsley Smith gets by Matt Mettler. That is for position on track. Matt Mettler was running P2. So Kinsley Smith back to P2 now as Chris Blasi comes into pit lane. That's going to give the lead back to Kinsley Smith. Mettler will have to make a pit stop. He's been running out there since lap 38, so he will have to come down. So that'll be, leave it with Kinsley Smith and Sean Dunaway to fight it out here. Looks like Andrew Teft was able to maybe work a little bit of magic and get up into P3, I believe, after this pit cycle is going to come through here. Blasi is back out on track. So he lost 7 positions on pit lane there. Staying out a little longer, trying to make a little bit of a difference here. Everybody is still rolling on track, 14 cars, and all 14 are on the track at the moment. Got 4 that are a couple laps down. They're trying to do a little bit of pit strategy, maybe to try and get back towards the front here. Matt Metler coming down now, so the new order is Kinsley Smith, Sean Dunaway by almost 10 seconds now. Andrew Teft about 7 seconds back. Not really sure what happened to Brandon Honeycutt. Like he might have got hit with a pit road penalty too, because he was running up in P3. Didn't spend too much time on pit lane, but now he is running P5 right behind Ira Kohlhaas. Matt Metler back out on track. Is going to be the first car a lap down at the moment here, as Kinsley Smith is still rolling out the lead here. He's staying about 9.5, 10 seconds, so he might have backed down just a little bit just to make sure he has enough fuel to make it to the end in case something strange were to happen. But I imagine if we are to get any sort of caution within the next 5 or 10 laps, everybody's going to come down regardless of when they came down before, unless you're in the back and then you're just going to try and take the wave around, get back on the lead lap so you can at least battle for some positions here. But with that being said, let's see if we can find some action here on track. We got Ira Kohlhaas and Brandon Honeycutt getting kind of close to each other, within a tenth, almost 2 tenths. You know Brandon Honeycutt's fairly fast because he was running up inside the top 3 for quite a little while here after not having the qualifying effort he wanted. The biggest mover of the race right now is Kirby Wainscott in that 10 machine, as he's going to get a little challenge here from Chris Blasi. Blasi down to the inside, gets a little loose, but he's going to take that position. But Kirby Wainscott's still the biggest mover of the race, up 6 spots now. Edward Sexton up 3. Next biggest mover is Brandon Honeycutt. He's up 5. And just a couple cars in front of him of this trio here that is going to be battling for the final podium position. Andrew Teft is up 4 as well. So these guys all battling for position, trying to get that final podium spot, as the top 2 drivers have pretty much checked out on the field. Starts to get tight, almost 3 wide here, battling for P3. Ira Kohlhaas takes it. Andrew Teft goes from 3rd to 5th in a hurry, as Brandon Honeycutt follows Kohlhaas right through the opening. Coming down the backstretch, Teft trying to hold on, trying to at least maintain touch of these 3rd and 4th place drivers here, as they're trying to make it back towards the start finish line now. It looks like Teft might be just losing it just a little bit here. We are at the 20 lap to go mark. As soon as they come by the start finish line, we'll get set to bring them on home here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. they're still closest battle out on track. Let's see if we can how these drivers are going here. Ira Kohaas is maintaining that quarter of a second lead. You can see it kind of dip down in the corner, but when they start to come off, I believe he's going to get back to the throttle a little bit faster. Not that time. Brandon Honeycutt ran that corner almost to perfection, as that gap is now about a little over a tenth of a second here. Battle for third here. Like I said, Ira Kohaas up 3 spots. Brandon Honeycutt up 6. And just like that, Andrew Teft is back to over a second and a half. So 17 laps to go. And these two, Ira Kohaas, Brandon Honeycutt, battling for the final podium spot here. Let's see if we can find a little more action out on track. Looks like we got Todd Slauson trying to get that double deuce by the 16 of Matt Metler. Slauson was running inside the top 5 for most of the night. Then all of a sudden had an incident and had to bring that that car pit side for an extended repair. As it looks like Chris Blasi got into that outside wall. Like he's trying to back it down just a little bit to get the car back under control in that 11 machine. It's like Ira and Brandon are still battling. Kind of pretty close, but not close enough, as Honeycutt has caught him, just hasn't been able to get a run to get by Ira Kohaas. And Aaron Marquis down on the inside. He's going to slide on down and stay down low. Let the good drivers fight it out here. Down the backstretch. See what that gap is from Kinsley Smith. Kinsley Smith to Dunaway is a little over 7.5 seconds now, so it looks like Kinsley might have backed it down just a little bit to try and make sure he had enough fuel to make it to the end. And you can kind of see where they landed. Like I said, Kinsley Smith stayed out to lap 37 the first time, cut it short to 33 the second, and now is 22. So we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens here. He should be able to make it to the end of the race. Shouldn't be an issue. The only issue would be if it was a overtime situation. Like I said, I imagine everybody's going to come down, get those 4 fresh tires, and see what happens in the final laps here, as we have 12 to go from Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Honeycutt and Kohaas. Looks like Slauson's starting to get closer here to Metler. To the outside he goes. Side by side down the backstretch. Metler 3 wide in the middle with Aaron Marquis down on the apron. And he's going to stay in front of Slauson here. Got Truth Hoke just in front of them as well. All 3 of them are battling. Well, not really battling for position. Truth Hoke's a lap down from these guys, but They are all 10th, 11th, and 12th here. Looks like Slauson just can't buy a way through as Mettler slides up in front of Truth Hope there. Slauson goes down to the inside. Is going to do the exact same thing coming out of 4. 10 laps to go, and Kinsley Smith has this race on cruise control. Dunaway trying to close in here. Ira Kohaas and Brendan Honeycutt are still battling. They're about 3/10, about the same as Clausen and Mettler back here. Dennis Kane was able to get by Andrew Teft as Andrew Teft is going the wrong way in a hurry. Blazi's been bouncing off the wall a couple times. Kirby Wainscott has done the same. So, battle on track. And it looks like it's not going to be that big of a battle as Ira Kohaas starts pulling away. And just as I say that, Brandon Honeycutt gets a massive run into turn number 3 and cuts that deficit back down to just under 0.2 of a second. Now it's back out to 3. Todd Slauson's still about 3 back from Mettler, so everybody's staying about where they're at. Dunaway is closing in on Kinsley Smith, but I don't know that Kinsley's pushing his car. Let's see if we can take a look at the dash. Maybe right on board here. Doesn't look like he's changed too much at the moment. Dunaway still 6.5 back. Ira Kohaas and Brendan Honeycutt. Kohaas is starting to pull away once again, out to almost 0.4. 5 laps to go here from Atlanta. As my good buddy Tony Cherpasso used to say, it's the handshake lap as they get rolling through. No real pressure for almost anybody. Todd Slauson still trying to push by Matt Mettler as they are 0.2 of a second between each other there. Mettler running about mid-track. Not really running the low line or the high line. Kind of staying where he feels comfortable. Slauson's closing in, though. He's getting within reach. It is the closest battle on track. And it is for position to see who's going to round out that top 10. Slauson with the run on the high side. It's going to stay up almost into the wall. If he can stay off the wall, he will have a massive run coming off of turn number 2. And he does. He starts to close in. It's down under 0.2 of a second, but just can't quite get enough as he's going to cross down. It looked like he was going to try and cross down to the inside lane there, but he stays up high. And he gets loose, so he's going to lose all that he gained, and that is going to be basically it for the top 10. Unless he can get it back underneath of him. 2 to go, popsicle sticks in the air. Kinsley Smith. Looks like he's almost has that car on lockdown, as he is just rolling through the corners here, heading down the backstretch through 3 and 4. No pressure anywhere. Another dominating performance in the Xfinity Series for Kinsley Smith here as he takes the white flag, 1.5 miles left, and Kinsley Smith is going to roll on to victory lane here at Old Atlanta in the Xfinity Series. Looks like Todd Slosson's closing that gap back down. Mettler might have had an issue there, but Kinsley Smith is going to come through turn number 4, head to the start-finish line, and Kinsley Smith is going to win at Atlanta. Dunaway second, Ira Kohaas third, Brandon Honeycutt fourth, Dennis Kane fifth, Andrew Teff sixth, Chris Blasi seventh, Kirby Wayne Scott brings home P8. Ninth is Edward Sexton, and Todd Slauson was able to get by Matt Mettler at the end of the race as Mettler goes crazy. Ruth Hoke locks it down, and Lee Campbell. Kinsley Smith brings home another dominating win here in the Xfinity Series. Guys, get out of their car, back to the booth here. Kinsley, burn it down real quick. All right, let's see if we can get Ira up here in the booth. Hey, Ira, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
It's going. If I hadn't had a little off-road excursion there early on, I think I might have had something for second, but I don't know about that winner.
Yeah, I saw your off-road excursion there early, but you were able to battle back and bring home a top 3. Looked like Brandon Honeycutt was going to try and push you there towards the end, but you were able to maintain your pace and get the podium finish here. How was it racing out there in this Old Atlanta configuration?
I love this track. It puts it back in the driver's hands, and it's not all air stuck down to the racetrack and just wide open, and whoever's out front when the checkered flag flies is the winner. This is I guess about as old school as you can get on here with these Xfinity cars, burning the rear tires off and spinning down the straightaways when you hit the bumps. That's what this sport was built on.
Yeah, it definitely looked like everybody was having some fun out there, especially with how hot that track was. But you guys wrap up Atlanta here, and you're heading to Mid-Ohio next week. What are your feelings as you head to the road course?
I don't know. I can honestly say I don't even think I own that track on here. I'm kind of I'll take the words from Harry Gant. I think he said it in '93. It's just unnatural for a stock car to turn right unless it's turning into victory lane. You know, the new car, watching them on Sundays is unfortunate at the road courses because you don't see anybody heel toeing it, and you know there's no foot cam like there used to be on Mark Martin or Davey or anybody like that running Sears Point. So it, I got a bad taste in my mouth for road racing.
Definitely don't really disagree with that either. But anybody you want to thank before we get you out of here tonight for your P3 finish?
Yeah, definitely. Got to thank Kinsley for painting the cars and all the guys at DEI. We've got a pretty solid team, pretty consistent, and it's a good group of guys. Got to get my brother a little bit better so he can be up there competing with us. Got to thank Matthews Archery and Amsoil and Randy and Jennifer Sellers from RGS Automotive. And got to thank my wife, Callie, and my two daughters, Raina and Clara, and just hope everybody has a good Easter weekend. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats once again.
All right, 10-4. Thank you.
All right, so let's see if we can get P2 up here in the booth. Hey, Sean, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. Well, you had a fast car tonight, but I have to ask, is there anything you could have done to try and get to Kinsley?
No. He was just way too fast. I tried to back up the corners as much as possible, just save as much tires as possible, but it was just too fast for me.
I mean, you definitely showed how fast that 01 was, qualified on the pole. Still bring home a P2. How was it racing this old Atlanta configuration here in this Xfinity car?
You know, I thought it was going to be a lot more slippery. I thought I would lose a lot more tire as the run went on. Luckily, I was able to back up the corners quite a bit. I was running the bottom line pretty much the whole race there, and it was working for me. The tires weren't sliding at all, so felt good. I thought it was going to be hard, but yeah, just had to ease in.
Definitely. So we put Atlanta in the rear view mirror, and we get set to go road course racing. How do you feel about the Xfinity car on the road course?
Yeah, I've driven on Sonoma with it, so that was quite the experience. Luckily, I am currently in Ohio, so I know the Mid-Ohio track pretty well. I'm hoping that experience just being around there will help me next week.
Definitely, man. Well, anybody you want to thank before we get you out of here for your P2 finish tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank my cat Taco. He tried to disrupt my race tonight. Almost lost my car there because of him. I want to thank my wife, and then Chicken Coop Racing.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats once again, and I will talk to you later.
All righty, thank you.
All right, so we move from the coupe to driving extreme here. Kinsley, man, another dominating performance out of that 15 machine.
Thanks, man. How's it going?
Not too bad. So were you kind of just slowing down, trying to save a little fuel and tires maybe at the end?
Yeah, just trying to make sure I didn't spin it out, really. It was super loose, so just took it safe and let him just manage the gap, really.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you were out there. You got over a 10-second lead, then all of a sudden looked like you were just kind of trying to play it safe and not worry about flipping and sliding off the track, as this was a 120-degree track temperature, and I know how these cars can get, but it didn't seem like anybody was really sliding too much out there through the corners.
Yeah, it would get really bad if you didn't time your throttle right coming out of the corner. I almost did it a couple times where I got a little sideways and I had to back off a little bit to not end up spinning it out, but it was just super slick. It wasn't too hard to handle. It was a little bit easier than most really warm and slick tracks, but it was a pretty fun one.
Definitely, man. Well, you have two dominating wins here. What are the chances we see another dominating win next week when we head to Mid-Ohio?
Probably very slim. I have actually never raced Mid-Ohio, so that I'll have to get a ton of practice in if I'm going to dominate that one. But I think that'll be a pretty fun race. It'll be an interesting one with a A lot of us guys, we don't really race road that much, so it's something different. Puts a little bit of challenge, so it should be fun.
Yeah, definitely. It'll show who can at least make a right-hand turn. But with that being said, anybody you want to thank before we get you out of here tonight for your victory?
Of course, you guys for putting on the broadcast for us, and Andrew for putting on the league. My team, Driving Extreme Inc. I finished P3, so that's a good thing, and gives us a lot to work on. And of course, my wife and my daughter being there for me and watching the races with me. So
Definitely, man. Well, congrats once again, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.
thanks, man. Have a good night.
Yep, later. Well, that will do it for the interview portion here. Let's see if we can go through these race results real quick. We got Kinsley Smith, Sean Dunaway, Ira Kohaus, 1, 2, 3, Brandon Honeycutt, Dennis Kane. We got Andrew Teft in 6th, Chris Blasey, Kirby Wainscott, Edward Sexton, Todd Slauson was able to get by Matt Metler for P10, Metler 11th, Truth Hope 12th, Lee Campbell, and Aaron Marquise 13th, 14th. Though 14 drivers competed, all 14 wound up finishing the race out on the track and rolling through. So congrats to these guys on a hot track at Hotlanta here. But they will go road course racing next week at Mid-Ohio. So from all the drivers of the Racers Elite Xfinity Series and all of us here at Sim Race Community, I want to wish you guys a good night, and I will see you next time.